Indiana. Highs will be in the 70s today from the northern and central plains southwestward, or to check that southeastward to the Ohio Valley. Great Lakes region will see highs in the 60s to near 70. Warmer low 80s will be found across much of Oklahoma. Out west, conditions across the region will become more unsettled over the next couple of days as a potent trough of low pressure digs in. Showers will be scattered today from Washington and Oregon eastward to Idaho and western Montana. Windy conditions will prevail from the Sierra Nevada area eastward to the Great Basin and northward to the northern Rockies. Snow levels will drop to about 6,000 feet in the Washington Cascades today and down to 5,500 feet tonight. The northern Cascades could see 3 to 6 inches of snow by tomorrow. Rain will change to snow to the higher elevations of Idaho, western Montana, and northwest Wyoming tonight. Significant snow accumulations are possible tonight and tomorrow, especially over 9,000 feet, and with more modest amounts from 7,000 to 9,000 feet. Today's highs in the 50s and 60s from Washington to Montana today. Locations like Salt Lake City and the Great Basin will see highs in the mid-80s today, but only in the low 60s tomorrow. Following the desert southeast, or check that the desert southwest, we'll see highs in the 90s to around 100 today, but parts of the region will be a bit cooler for tomorrow. And that's a brief gander at the weather forecast, again courtesy of the Weather Channel at weather.com.
I used to get wet. I used to sweat. I used to get caught outside in the rain and snow. But now I'm warm and dry. Please don't follow me from the sky. 'Cause I get my weather from the radio.
Praise the Lord! All right. I found that in the system yesterday when I was reprogramming it. No wonder I couldn't find some of my other stuff. And I also found this. Gapla! Oh, if I could ever do it, I'd love to do a broadcast in Klingli someday. What it is to be a Trekkie. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back in a few minutes, we'll have Today in History, celebrity birthdays, along with the CBS World News Roundup. In the meantime, we'll have the composer's date book in a moment, as well as the writer's almanac with Garrison Keillor right after this, so stick around.
These are the sounds of someone taking their eyes off the road. Texting while driving is more than distracting. It's dangerous. Do us all a favor. When you're on the road, stay off the phone. A message from CTIA, America's Wireless Companies, and the National Safety Council.
And here is the Writer's Almanac for Tuesday. It's the 24th of September, 2013. It's the anniversary of the establishment of the post office, the official establishment. Congress passed an act on this day in 1789, though there were already 75 post offices in existence around the country. It's the birthday of the man who said the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. Francis Scott Fitzgerald, F. Scott Fitzgerald, born in St. Paul, 1896. He went to Princeton. An aunt paid his way there, tried out for the football team, was cut from the team. He was kicked out of Princeton. He went into the Army. He went to officer training camp in Alabama, made a girlfriend there, Zelda Sayre. He wanted to go off to war, but the war ended before he could get into it. He and Zelda were engaged. She called off the engagement because he didn't have enough money. So he went back to St. Paul, and he wrote a novel, This Side of Paradise, which was a big success. Fitzgerald's daughter Scotty said about Scott and Zelda, people who live entirely by the fertility of their imaginations are fascinating, brilliant, and often charming, but they should be sat next to at dinner parties, not lived with. And it's the birthday of Blind Lemon Jefferson, born on a farm in Couchman, Texas, around 1893. Picked up the guitar as a teenager, played on the streets, getting change in a tin cup. Made his way to Dallas, then made his way to Chicago, recorded for Paramount Records. He recorded nearly 100 songs over 3 years. He became the first country blues musician with a national following. He was only about 36 years old when he died in Chicago, his body found on a street in a December snowstorm. Buried back in Wortham, Texas, in a grave with a granite marker engraved with his own lyrics, "Lord, it's one kind favor I'll ask of you, see that my grave is kept clean." Here's a poem for today by Ivan Boland, "The Necessity for Irony." On Sundays, when the rain held off, after lunch or later, I would go with my 12-year-old daughter into town and put down the time at junk sales, antique fairs. There I would lean over tables absorbed by lace, wooden frames, glass. My daughter stood at the other end of the room, her flame-colored hair, obvious whenever, which was not often, I turned around. She was gone, grown, no longer ready to come with me whenever a dry Sunday held out its promises of small histories, endings. When I was young, I studied styles, their use and origin, which age was known for which ornament, and was always drawn to a lyric speech, a civil tone, but never thought I would have the need, as I do now, for a darker one. Spirit of irony, my caustic author of the past, of memory, and of its pain which returns, hurts, stings. Reproach me now, remind me that I was in those rooms with my child, with my back turned to her, searching, oh irony, for beautiful things. A poem by Ivan Boland, "The Necessity for Irony," from her collection The Lost Land, published by W.W. Norton & Company and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Supported by Lending Tree, where you can fill out one form and receive up to 5 loan offers at trylendingtree.com, NMLS 1136. Produced by Joy Biles, with assistance by Teresa Burgess. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.
This is the Composer's Datebook for September 24th. I'm John Zeck. In what we call the Age of the Baroque, double concertos were quite common. There were concertos written for 2 flutes, 2 trumpets, or like this famous concerto by J.S. Bach for 2 violins. These double concertos represented a civilized give and take between the 2 soloists, a sort of sense of balance, or decorum, perhaps typical of the 18th century society in general. In the 19th century, however, the concept of the solitary artist as hero or rebel helped make the virtuosic solo concerto much more typical of the Romantic age. In our time, the double concerto occasionally makes a civilized comeback, and on today's date in 1989, this one, for 2 violins, was premiered in Pittsburgh, Kansas. It's by the American composer Catherine Hoover, who offered this explanation. When 2 violinists get together to perform with orchestra, it's usually a friendly celebration, a chance for colleagues who value each other's talents and skills to enjoy making music together. So I began to think, if I were one of the players, I would want the piece to be grateful and warm, with lyricism and a sense of playfulness. This is what I have attempted to write. Catherine Hoover's 1989 double concerto was commissioned and premiered by the Southeastern Kansas Orchestra. Composer's Datebook is produced by APM, American Public Media, and the American Composers Forum, reminding you that all music was once new.
And just like that, I'm back. Welcome, my friends, to Studio 26. Yours truly, Joe Haffner, here at the controls, as we stroll on with today's program, which we like to call First Cup. And what do you say we take a look at celebrity birthdays? Doesn't that sound like a good thing to do right about now? I thought you might agree. And here we go.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you? Other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
Bones, I don't want to be lectured.
Very, very many happy reasons.
And today, before I get to today's celebrity birthdays, wish to remind you that if you're celebrating your birthday today, or you're having your birthday today, whatever the case might be, happy birthday. And you share birthdays with news anchor Lou Dobbs is 68, Kevin Sorbo, Hercules in Hercules, The Legendary Journeys is 55, Nia Vardalos, am I pronouncing that correctly? My Life in Ruins and My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which by the way is a very good movie, is 51 today. And those are celebrity birthdays for today. Now, you may be wondering, why do I have such an outrageous clip in to start off the segment? Here, I'll play it over again just in case. Of course, it's from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you? Other people have birthdays. Why are we treating yours like a funeral?
Bones, I don't want to be lectured.
And if you're not familiar with that movie, I chose that because that's how I view life and death to a certain extent, at least one of my aspects. And one of the central themes of that movie was about Admiral Kirk confronting getting older. And his friends were basically saying, you need to get back your command before you get too old. And he was moping around about it because there's this new generation of cadets coming through, and he was back at Starfleet headquarters. He accepted promotion too soon. So that's why I play that clip. That's the significance of it. To always be true to what you were meant to do, what you believe you were meant to do, and not what society thinks you should do. That's why I have that in there, okay? In case you were wondering. Anyway, I don't know why I decided to bring that up now. I was going to wait till my birthday, but I didn't want to wait that long, okay? Especially to keep you wondering for another month and a half as to why I do it that way. Let's get ready to go back in time, shall we? And I have room for one passenger, and I've chosen you. Yeah, you right there. So hop in, all right? Buckle up, and let's get this show on the road. And as we go back in time, we go back to the year on this date in 1956. The world's first transatlantic telephone cable system began operating between Clarenville, Newfoundland, and Oban, Scotland. Now get this, it was a distance of 2,250 miles. Unfortunately, no one knew anyone in the other opposing community. On this date in 1956. I'm starting to talk like my high school history teacher, Mr. Kelly. He would say more better. Okay, anyway, for more of today in history, slow down, Joe, make the words count. We go to the Associated Press and some over-modulated levels.